What's going on, everyone? Casual Bench here with another Elden Ring video. So today I wanted to talk about why I decided to choose the path of the Spellsword and the potentials of focusing on pure intelligence without neglecting physical combat and poise. So basically I'm trying to build a sort of tanky DPS magic-wielding swordsman, and I think it's going to be really powerful by the end of the game. So let's go ahead and jump into some of the equipment here. So as you can see here, I'm using the same two swords from the very start of the game with a little bit of a twist, and I'll get to that later. And the Glintstone Staff only requires 10 intelligence to use, so you can use this with Glintstone Pebble from the very early in the game and get some ranged attacks, so very useful. I still think the red starting class is even the best for a mage. So I have the Godric Soldier Helm and the Godric Knight Armor, so a little bit more poise with this set, more physical damage resistance, kind of what I'm going for the longevity of the build. And I have the Green Turtle Talisman. This recovers stamina speed, and the Twin Blade gives the last combo attack more attack power. And I'm not going to tell you where I get any of this stuff because I think that that's something that everyone should kind of find on their own. I'm just going to simply show you the potentials of using this equipment and what you can kind of do to play around with the different play styles with it. And as you can see on my quick bar down here, I don't like to keep anything but my two flasks on here, the two main ones, the Cerulean Tears and the Crimson Tears, because I just don't like cycling through a lot of things. I tend to get stuck on the wrong thing and just get killed in combat. So as you can see, I put my Wondrous Physic on my pouch here, so it's the same sort of slot. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into some overall stats. So at level 40, I've decided to sort of cap my stats here, and I think this is kind of a good place to land. So as you can see, I've invested mostly in health, FP, and stamina. I've got a flat 100 FP at 20 mind. And again, very minimal investment in intelligence in the early game. Obviously, I'm going to only level intelligence at this point, no strength and dexterity, and pretty much just to invest in the strength of my sorceries as I proceed later in the game and get better sorceries to use. Alrighty, so here are the spells that I'm using so far. Glintstone Arc, definitely my favorite spell in the game. It goes through walls, most walls, and kills large groups of enemies. Just amazing. Swift Glintstone Shard. This is good for 1v1ing enemies and just kind of chipping down their health, but it's super fast. I think it's better than Glintstone Pebble. And again, it's only going to get better with the more intelligence that you put points into. And then Great Glintstone Shard. This is going to be replaceable. It's just kind of like the heavy damage spell that I can kind of fall back on. But next we have my favorite part of this build, the ability to interchange Ashes of War on your weapons. So basically this is what makes this build amazing. So you can just go in here to your weapon in your Ashes of War menu, and you can click on it and change your Ashes of War. So if you have magic Ashes of War or fire or blood or any of that, it's going to give you a scaling automatically. You can get whetstones later and put pretty much any scaling on any weapon, but for now you're kind of confined to these. So this is the magic one that I have. This is Gravitas, so it does a huge AoE effect and then pulls all your enemies into combo, which is super useful. And then I'm just kind of using this as a placeholder for now, but Carrying Greatsword does a smaller Greatsword, then if you charge your attack, it does a larger Greatsword. It takes longer to hit. But pretty much, yeah, so you get two sort of Ashes of War in one, which I think is really cool, especially for a magic build. So let's say you're in an area of the game where magic is pretty much useless, you know, everything's strong to it. You can just open this menu and change the affinities and the Ashes of War to your weapons. And so in this case, I'm doubling my fire damage on these swords. So the weapon art is like a arcing combustion and followed up by a heavy R2, enchants your right-handed weapon with fire. So it's really amazing. And so yeah, it does a lot of damage at that point. So if something's weak to fire or magic's not cutting it, just use another affinity. So what I like to do when I'm entering a new scenario is keep a magic, Ash of War, and affinity on one weapon and a fire on the other. So then you can kind of test out which one's going to do more damage by two-handing each of your weapons. And also it leads to a really good combo potential like this. You can do Gravitas out of a strong attack here, and then just switch over to two-handing your fire weapon. And in PvP, they might not see this coming because they think you're a magic build. So, and the versatility of being able to use just freely use two Ashes of War is, I think, really powerful. And it's the cherry on top of this build that makes it so great. But anyway, let's get into some gameplay here. So for the last part of this video, I just wanted to talk about some potentials that I'm really looking forward to with this build, and also just show you guys some gameplay of me using the swords and the spells in tandem. So the main thing I'm looking forward to on this build is there is a Frostbite affinity that causes frost buildup on enemies, and it scales with intelligence. So when you find an Ash of War that has a frost affinity, or when you get that particular whetstone, you'll be able to just add that to any weapon. And I think using that with a twin sword build is just amazing because you'll be able to build up hopefully a lot of frost super fast, and it'll give you yet another affinity type to use with this build. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into some gameplay here with no commentary and just the swords and the spells. If you guys found this video helpful, be sure to like and subscribe. I'm going to be posting a lot of update videos on my build as I make it through my first playthrough of Elden Ring. So until next time, goodbye.